Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Watson Michael from Ceylon Institute of English and Leadership, and welcome to our final episode of Health is Wealth. And the topic is the importance of sleep. And we have with us veteran Dr. Robert Adams, retired Navy SEAL commander, retired Delta Force colonel, family physician, a best-selling author of 3 books which are currently sold in over 20 plus countries and which is available on Amazon Kindle, right? And not to forget, he became a doctor of medicine at the age of 40 while having 2 kids, right? Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And
Dr.
don't
Bob,
forget audiobook for the people who don't speak English and want to learn it better, listen to the audiobooks.
100%, it's available on Kindle, right? So go ahead.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bob, how are you doing today? And
Doing really well.
Excellent. So let's talk about sleep today. So what are the recommended hours of sleep that a person should get?
Well, this is a fun question because earlier today, I was holding my new 1-week-old granddaughter, and she was sound asleep. She just eaten 2 hours before. She's getting ready to wake up and eat again. And a lot of people don't realize this, but a newborn baby in that first month of life will sleep 14 to 20 hours a day.
Wow.
They'll wake up to eat and poop and go back to sleep again. And, you know, when you're a newborn mom, that's a pretty nice thing because you can get your naps in while your baby's napping. And as you get older, the amount of sleep you need decreases. Teenagers need more than adults, and older adults need less than younger adults. So a teenager, for example, probably 8 to 10 hours is normal. You know, I talk to mothers all the time. My teenager won't get out of bed until noon. I said, well, that's what teenagers do. They need the extra sleep, and we don't. Now, when you're working and you're working out, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is pretty average for everybody. Interestingly, some studies coming out of European countries where people live longer than other countries have discovered that people who sleep a little bit more live a little bit longer. So it is interesting. 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep is perfectly okay. That's when the body restores itself and heals itself. So, I'll get my older patients, particularly in retirement, will come to me and go, I need a sleeping pill. Well, why? Well, because I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I don't want to be awake. Well, hold on a second. What time did you go to bed? Well, I went to bed at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Well, do the numbers. You slept 7 hours, you're fine. Yeah, but I don't want to be awake. And this is a common problem in the doctor world. Give me a drug, put me to sleep, which is not a good idea. And I go, look, understand that your body's going to need less sleep. So the right thing to do is stay up later. So because the TV's on and there's books to read and you can do other things. So you don't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning going, why am I wide awake? You're wide awake because your body wakes up. And it's very interesting how that happens. There's a hormone called melatonin. You ever heard of melatonin or taken pills of melatonin?
Yeah, I have heard about this. Some MMA fighters, they take those pills.
Right. So people who take melatonin thinking it's a good, healthy supplement, but in reality, melatonin is a hormone produced by the pineal gland, which lives right here in the middle of the head. And it senses sunlight or artificial light also. And when there's no light, it produces extra hormone called melatonin, and the body goes to sleep. Okay, I got melatonin. That means there isn't any light, so it must be go to sleep time. Now that's interesting because I used to be a military doctor, and what military doctors have learned as we're traveling around the world across different time zones, that if you've been up all night and you arrive somewhere and the sun is up,
Yes.
but your pineal gland's confused. It's going, I don't understand. I'm not going to produce any go to sleep hormone because there's light out here. So we tell people, go to your hotel room, close all the windows, turn all the lights, take some melatonin. And those pills then tell the body that it's dark, I can go to sleep. Now, and it really is very, very interesting. Now, if there's bright light, then the melatonin in the body stops working. It stops being produced.
Wow.
So, one of the most important things I tell people that are having trouble sleeping is get blackout curtains for your bedrooms. Don't let the light come in through the windows. It'll wake you up.
Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant insights.
Now I want to make one other point.
Yes.
My wife is very sensitive to darkness and sunlight. She likes sunlight. She loves the beach.
Okay.
But when we lived in the northwestern part of the United States, where it was always cloudy,
yes,
she was sleeping poorly and just sad feeling. Okay. And there's an interesting diagnosis in the medical literature called seasonal affective disorder, SAD. If you don't get sunlight, you get SAD. And it's tied to melatonin also.
Wow.
So here's something interesting that the people in the Pacific Northwest have learned to do. They buy sun lamps to put over their beds in the mornings. These lights come on gently, just as if the sun was rising. And the brain goes, hey, it's the sun's out, stop making melatonin, and you wake up.
Wow, sun
Isn't
lamp.
that interesting?
Yeah. So I never heard about it. So this is the first time actually I'm hearing about it. Wow.
Great. It's very popular in areas in the world where, like the very, very northern parts, Sweden and Finland and the northern, Greenland and Iceland. Those are places where the sun sometimes doesn't rise. And when that happens, your pineal gland is overproducing melatonin. It keeps you asleep. You don't feel good. So that's the reason why. That's the scientific reason why.
Wow. Excellent. So what is sleep apnea and how is it managed?
Excellent question. And, as a doctor, probably the real sleep problems that I have to deal with are related to something called sleep apnea. And there's two types, two major types. One is in people that are overweight. They have a neck size that's 16 inches or greater. Okay. So if your shirt, when you tie your shirt and it's 16 inches, sleep apnea is very common in this population.
Wow.
But if you're thin like you, and I have a normal neck, and I'm not a 18-inch or 16-inch neck, then when I lay down, my airway is open and I can breathe.
Yeah.
But if somebody that's overweight has a big neck, when they lay down, the weight of their own body pushes on their airway and they can't breathe. And they're stopping and they're coughing and they're snoring real badly.
Yeah.
So that's sort of an anatomic sleep apnea, which we also see in young people that have very large tonsils or very large adenoid glands. And in the old days, we would take out people's tonsils all the time. Nowadays, we don't do that anymore because we know the tonsils are part of our immune system.
Yes.
But if you've got very big tonsils and you lay down, same thing happens. You can't breathe. So you snore, you wake up, you never go into the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, which is the restorative sleep that we all need to wake up with energy. Now, there is, because you asked, I'll tell you, there's another type of sleep apnea, and it's called central sleep apnea.
Okay.
And this type of sleep apnea is oftentimes inherited. It runs in families. And it's an abnormality in the brain that doesn't recognize when the body's oxygen levels are too low or the carbon dioxide levels are too high. And this can cause brain damage, memory problems, depression, weight gain, diabetes, high blood pressure, and so I always tell people, if you're worried about your husband or wife because they're snoring a lot or they're gaining weight and snoring a lot, come see the doctor. Let us do a test. And what we do is we put you on a sleep machine. And we put a mask over your nose and mouth in a doctor's office. We attach electrodes to your heart and electrodes to your brain, and we let you sleep in a doctor's office at night. And we watch things like leg movement, because restless leg syndrome is another medical and sometimes inherited abnormality that wakes people up. And if you keep waking up during the night, you don't feel better. You wake up tired. And you're saying, I don't understand. I was in bed for 12 hours and I'm still tired. So these are issues that you should always don't gut it out, tough it out, and let your husband or wife yell at you. Come see the doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a very common thing which I hear some people complaining most of the time, right? All right.
Yes,
Bless
absolutely.
you, bless you. So just before sleeping, is it recommended to look at the cell phone? Because as those lights cause problems for people to sleep sometimes. So it's better to use a blue light filter, isn't it? Like after 6 p.m. on the cell phone.
So you make a very good point, because this is new in the medical literature. The light from a cell phone produces a blue light, which stimulates the sleep-wake cycles in the wrong direction. Blue light is the light that wakes you up and then turns off melatonin production. And so you're about ready to go to sleep, you give yourself blue light, melatonin stops being produced, and you wake up. Because remember, it's the absence or it's the presence of melatonin that makes you want to go to sleep. So they've actually started to make blue light blocking glasses that you can buy. And you told me about this. I didn't know about it until you told me, and I looked it up, and you were right. The cell phones are bad to be, the people that are playing with their cell phones while they're going to sleep are not going to sleep well. Now, if you have to do that, you got to look at your cell phone. Wearing blue light blocking glasses is not a bad idea.
Spot on. So another interesting one. Does alcohol and caffeine affect your sleep? Because usually before I sleep, most of the time I drink a non-caffeinated tea, chamomile tea. So I have that usually.
So both caffeine and alcohol cause problems with sleep. Caffeine, of course, is a stimulant. And if you drink tea or coffee before you go to bed, then having nothing to do with melatonin, it's just, you're awake, you're stimulated, and being able to rest to go to sleep is difficult. Now, certain teas like chamomile, which is relaxing and has no caffeine in it, is very, very good, but don't drink it 2 hours before bedtime. Make sure it's further away than 2 hours from bedtime for two reasons. One is when you drink any liquid before you go to bed, it makes you want to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom. And then you didn't get a good night's sleep. And also the people that have acid indigestion, I think you and I have that problem. When we lay down, water washes up and burns the back of our throat, and we wake up, we don't get a good night's sleep. So if you want a good relaxing tea, drink that after dinner, but 2 hours before you go to sleep.
100%. I'll agree with you on that.
Wait, and I want to make another point about alcohol.
Yes.
Alcohol is very good at putting you to sleep, but it does two things. It stimulates the production of urine through a hormone called the diuretic hormone.
Yeah.
And you're going to get up 2 or 3 more times during the night to pee out liquid that you didn't drink.
Yeah.
And so alcohol will put you to sleep very effectively, but it will not give you lasting sleep. And you wake up 2-3 hours later, I got to go to the bathroom, you got to go again. People that drink too much liquid, too much alcohol before dinner will wake up 3 or 4 times during the night, and then they wake up tired. So bad idea. To have same thing, have your alcohol with dinner, but not before bed.
Spot on. So is it like good to have a nap during the day?
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again.
Is it good to have a nap during the day, daytime?
So there are a lot of millionaires and multimillionaires that are famous for taking naps during the day. And they claim that that 30-minute nap, reawakens them and gets them ready for the rest of the day. And so, because I knew you were going to ask me that question, I looked up the recommendations in the medical studies. And in fact, it does support that, because so many people don't get good night's sleep because they drink caffeine, they drink alcohol, they're overweight. And so that 7 or 8 hours that they were in bed were not restorative sleep. And so if it's lunchtime or after lunch, the South American and Central American people have siesta time. Yeah. And it's been part of their culture for years. And interestingly, the older people there tend to do very, very well because they take a nap and they live longer. So yes, naps can be very healthy if you need that extra sleep, but also remember, if you don't need the sleep, nap doesn't do anything. And a nap really should only be about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Set your alarm so you don't oversleep during the daytime for the same problem. Now it's bedtime, you're wide awake. I don't want to go to sleep. You need a regular routine. That's important.
Absolutely. So all of us need a regular routine. So the last topic which we want to discuss is, let's talk a bit about insomnia and how to treat it. So I remember in SWOTs and Saints, you had a fishing partner who served as a sniper. He also had some sleep problems.
No, he did. And this is a great sort of closing question to talk about sleep with. If you think you have insomnia, I can't sleep, and you need to look back at either of the questions you've asked me and ask yourself, which one applies to me? Because what I told my fishing partner and what I tell all of my patients is, there is no disease called I can't sleep. That's not a disease. If you're saying, I can't sleep, I have insomnia, and doctor, help me. First thing I'm going to tell you is, pay attention to the things we've been talking about. Is you starting to sleep at the same time? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you doing naps too often? Are you drinking the wrong things, eating the wrong things? And if you fix those things,
thinking the wrong things,
then the insomnia goes away. Because I'm going to say this again, there's no such thing as I can't sleep as a disease. There's only people who don't do what you and I are talking about and find themselves not having the ability to go to sleep easily. And I'll tell you this, there are over-the-counter sleeping pills. They're useful. There are prescription medications that help you sleep. They're useful. When I went to war with the Army, I took sleeping pills with me. They were narcotic. I gave it to people on long flights so that when you sleep during a long flight and wake up ready to go, but if you do that on an everyday basis, you get into trouble. And that includes whether you're taking a narcotic pill or something like Benadryl, which is over-the-counter sleep aid. Sominex in the United States, Benadryl in the United States. These are medicines that make you feel sleepy. But if you do it every single night, your body stops working normally. So don't do it every day. Do it as needed only.
Spot on. So wise words, right? So thank you, Dr. Bob. And do you want to give any final message to all the Dr. Robert Adams fans worldwide?
I will. I'll make one more point, and that is if you're not comfortable in the bed that you're sleeping on, get a new mattress because you've got to be comfortable. And we didn't talk about this, but cooler temperatures make for better sleep. You know, if you're in a hot climate, turn the air conditioning down. If you don't have air conditioning, put a fan in your room. Make your sleeping environment cooler. You will sleep better and deeper and wake up more refreshed. So the bottom line is pay attention to your sleeping environment. Make sure that your sleep is comfortable. And if it's not working, come see your doctor and we'll figure out what else is wrong.
Spot on, right? So, and for all those watching this podcast, if you all have not read Swords and Saints, just go ahead and get the book on Amazon Kindle. There you go. That's a book, right? That's a book. Okay.
Also available on audiobook.
Audiobook is also there, right? So let's say you are complaining you don't have time to read and all. Okay, so when you're driving to work or when you're driving somewhere, you can listen to the audio, right? So thank you once again, Dr. Bob, for taking time to do this podcast with us. And we are coming with more and more episodes. So very interesting medical stuff. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.